Hello everybody, it's the Fantasy Football Almanac here, back at it with another best ball draft video. Today we're launching into another draft. We got the sixth pick. Hoping for one of the top five to fall to me, like a Cooper Cup, Justin Jefferson, or Jamar Chase. Probably will not happen, but one can always dream. Cooper Cup goes off the board here at pick 3. Pick 4, we shall see. Talugan 70 making his pick here. He does decide to go Austin Eckler, meaning that we are guaranteed either Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. Can't ask for much more than that. Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase here with the 6th overall pick. Really, now that I can get a little picky, I'm really hoping for Justin Jefferson, but probably going to be Jamar Chase here. I would really. And Jamar Chase goes off the board. Oh my God. Couldn't have asked for a more perfect draft. Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Justin Jefferson falling to the 6th pick. Oh my God. See this about one in every, I don't know, 20 drafts, something like that. Probably only seen this like 2 or 3 times. Oh my God. Wow. So, I'm already starting this very, very hot. Uh, this is going to be a good video. I can already tell. We're drafting with these lunatics. I'm very fine with it. Stephon Diggs goes at the 107. Dalvin Cook at the 108. All right, so now I can really, really go a number of ways here with my next picks. Could obviously hope for running back value. I can obviously hope for wide receiver value, but I think really now we have the flexibility to play around and go after somebody like Josh Allen, go after somebody like Mark Andrews. Now that we have such a dominant spot at wide receiver, we have the flexibility to do a lot of cool stuff. Um, right here, there's a few players I would be eyeing. Oh my God, this draft is absolutely going crazy. Oh my God, this might be the craziest draft I've ever seen. Travis Kelce going at the 109, Derrick Henry at the 110, DeAndre Swift at the 111. Oh my God, Mark Andrews off at the 113. Holy crap, this draft is crazy. Najee Harris is still on the board here. And he goes off at the pick 15, but oh my God, CeeDee Lamb still on the board. CeeDee Lamb is still on the board. We might be able to get Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb here. Oh my God. Wow, this would be absolutely insane. Um, Although probably not likely. CeeDee Lamb and, and Justin Jefferson. That's a fever dream right there. Um, Probably not gonna happen though. We'll probably end up with somebody like Debo. CeeDee Lamb does go off the board here. I would obviously take either Aaron Jones or oh my God. Okay, I guess we're going Debo here. Wow. Oh my God. This draft is absolutely insane. So we started off with the wide receiver 3 on a points per game basis last year, and the wide receiver 2 on a points per game basis last year. So starting it off very strong. Um, Now I would honestly be hoping for a running back to fall, but probably not going to happen. Probably most of the rest of the top running backs will be off the board. Saquon Barkley goes here at the 210, Leonard Fournette at the 209. But with the way this draft started, I don't think there's any way we could be mad for the rest of the draft. We could get sniped on every player for the rest of the draft and still be happy. Still walk out of here very, very happy. Teagan's goes here at the 211. I guess right here I would love if Nick Chubb fell or oh my God, I didn't even think of it. We could go Alvin Kamara here. Now that his ADP has fallen a ton. Getting somebody like Alvin Kamara here. Oh my God. And I'm pick 30. His ADP is pick 30.2, so basically on the money. Um, oh my God. Getting somebody like that here would be insane. Getting him, getting Nick Chubb. I mean, there's really a lot of good players on the board here that we can scoop up. Not really a fan of taking Mike Williams here, although I think Mike Williams is a very talented player, and obviously he pops off last year. I don't really want him that much. I mean, I think you're pretty much drafting him at his absolute ceiling. I mean, realistically, how much further can he go up from 28? Like, I don't really see drafting players at their ceiling like that, especially here when you can get values like Nick Chubb, like Mike Marino did here. Mike Marino, very smart man, going with somebody like Nick Chubb over Mike Williams. I think here as well, getting Alvin Kamara would be really, really good because Alvin Kamara, although he is suspended 6 games, most likely getting him here at pick 30 when I already have 2 insane wide receivers that will carry me through the first half of the season. Taking Alvin Kamara, obviously a lot of risk, but when you're in a draft like this, you just need to find a way to not screw it up and take. Honestly, I do think that if you end up in a draft where you're getting like crazy, Alvin Kamara goes off the board here and we get sniped. That is disappointing. I think here we do have to go Javonte Williams, although I don't love Javonte Williams. I do think that Javonte Williams is a very talented running back. I mean, Javonte Williams absolutely set the running back scene on fire last year in Denver. Two, he is getting a very good quarterback. In Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson obviously potentially a top 5 quarterback. Uh, the problem is obviously they signed Melvin Gordon back to 1 year extension. I really don't think they wanted to. I mean, they waited. I have Javonte Williams in my dynasty league. They waited months to sign back Melvin Gordon. This wasn't something where they were like, "Oh, let's get Melvin Gordon back. We need Melvin Gordon." This was more of a situation where they realized, they could sign him at a very cheap deal. He wasn't really getting much in the free agent market, and they could give Javonte Williams another year to get more comfortable, which I think is more than fair. Uh, so we do go Javonte Williams here, although I probably would have preferred Kamara. If Melvin Gordon does go down, Javonte Williams could easily ascend to be the RB1. I mean, Javonte Williams, honestly, if Melvin Gordon were not playing this year, Javonte Williams would be going around where Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, and Joe Mixon are going. I would easily make an argument he goes above Joe Mixon. I would fairly easily make an argument he goes above Dalvin. Najee's where it starts to get a little tough. I probably wouldn't have him above Najee, but to each his own. All right, so sorry I got very excited there. These first 3 rounds have been absolutely electric. Just to go over some of the draft picks: Michael Pittman, Marquise Hollywood Brown, DJ Moore go after us. James Conner goes off the board. Cortland Sutton's going off the board earlier and earlier. I'm 2 picks away, so I'll give it a second on reading these picks. But hopefully here, I'd be fine with Deontay Johnson. I would be fine with Cam Akers. I would even be fine with Breece Hall. There's really a lot of good players on the board here, a lot of value. Even Jerry Jeudy. I guess my number one preference right now, even though we do have fairly good running backs or good wide receivers, I think Deontay Johnson is the move. And then trying to snag somebody like J.K. Dobbins at pick 54 would probably be the better option. Getting paused does go Cam Akers here. I think at this point in between 2 players, I'm really between Deontay Johnson and Breece Hall. Deontay Johnson, obviously, his situation has gotten not much worse, but a little worse with a little uncertainty at QB. But I do think that getting a Deontay Johnson here, when you have that consistency, will raise the floor of our wide receiver room easily. Ceiling, maybe not as much so, but floor, most definitely. So now we do have some of the sexiest wide receiver names on the market. I mean, all 3 of these guys were wide receiver ones last year. We have 3 of them. Javonte Williams, running back 14 last year. Another great name. You really have to be so happy with a team like this. Justin Herbert goes here at pick 44. Gabe Davis at pick 45. See, the main reason I was considering Deontay Johnson is because after this, I mean, maybe including Jerry Jeudy, there is definitely a wide receiver drop off. And anytime you see a drop off like that or a gap in talent, you do want to go and get your guy. Especially Deontay Johnson, great receiver, much probably going to be much better than Gabriel Davis. Although Gabriel Davis did have that one crazy game, I'd say it's probably best to fade him because you're pretty much drafting him as a ceiling. Rashad Bateman here. I think Rashad Bateman's a very good pick. I think at 46 it might be a little rich for my taste, but getting a guy that's going to be an automatic wide receiver one. He's walking into so much volume next season. Him and Mark Andrews are literally the only 2 guys getting any work in that offense. I mean, Devin Duvernay next. Jerry Jeudy, 47. I think, honestly, it's you've seen Russell Wilson support wide receivers so easily. I mean, look at DK Metcalf, David Montgomery, George Kittle, Pat Mahomes. Oh my God, if we can get Breece Hall here, Breece Hall. I'm just gonna keep saying this. Breece Hall. If we can get Breece Hall here, if we can get Breece Hall, after we were considering drafting him over Deontay Johnson in the last round, and now here getting him potentially, if Joker JJ 23 blesses us up, Joker JJ, come on, please. I am begging, take DK Metcalf, take Brandon Cooks. Do not take Brees Hall. He goes Brees Hall. To be fair, it had to be expected. I mean, Brees Hall was obviously the best option on the board there. Uh, Here we are going to go J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins, in his rookie campaign, obviously did not get as much workload as we would have liked. But now coming into this year, before he tore his ACL in the preseason last year, he was getting 91% of first team reps. What more can you ask for? I mean, 91% of first team reps in an offense that runs the ball probably more than any other offense in the league. I think J.K. Dobbins is a very, very strong pick here at 54. Pick 55, DK Metcalf. Going off the board here, I do think DK Metcalf at 55, he has to be a value. I mean, I know what's been going on with him. You know, it's a little confusing, but at pick 55, DK Metcalf just has to be a value here. I personally wouldn't take him right now. I'm not a big fan of taking him in general, but DK Metcalf has to be a value. I mean, he was just way too talented his sophomore season. Sure, you can argue he had a slump in his third season, but I mean, the talent's still there, and arguing that he had a slump while he still put up almost 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns is like seems pretty asinine to me. I mean, it's a little tough to really argue that he had such a terrible slump that you can't draft him, especially drafting him behind guys like Gabe Davis. I mean, come on, like it just doesn't really make much sense to me. Because DK's got all the talent in the world. Allen Robinson had way worse season last year than DK Metcalf. Granted, obviously the situations are much different now, but still, I mean, it just doesn't really make much sense to me. All right, so here, there's three players we really like. So we're guaranteed one of them at this point. Chris Godwin, Jalen Hurts, and Dalton Schultz. Presumably, I mean, really, I guess, Chris Godwin. Jalen Hurts does go off the board here, losing all hope on Chris Godwin. But Dalton Schultz here would probably end up being the pick if Chris Godwin is sniped. Chris Godwin is not sniped. Although Chris Godwin is probably going to be missing some part of the season. When you have a team this good, I feel like it's worth it to take risks to make the team absolute god tier, especially when we're not competing until week 17. So week 17 is one where the money's really going to be made, and this team will thrive week 17. J.K. Dobbins hopefully will be more recovered from his ACL tear. Javonte Williams will hopefully have an injured Melvin Gordon. I don't want to say that. That's terrible. And all these players should hopefully, have a very sizable role in their offense. Now, there's a couple things we need. We obviously need tight end. We obviously need quarterback. But we can get those guys later. Pick 78, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Probably not going to happen. But Dalton Schultz. Just going over some of the board here. Wide receiver run from picks 55 to 59, and even up until pick 63, really. But there is a massive drop off from a guy like DK Metcalf to a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, obviously, not taking away from the talent there, but 6-game suspension. He's obviously did not look like the same wide receiver he was in his prime compared to last year. So it is a little worrying. Amari Cooper goes to pick 68. That would have been another guy I was considering if both Dalton Schultz and Chris Godwin were off the board. Because obviously it is a huge risk, but very talented wide receiver. And even if he does have a shit quarterback, it's still going to be a good wide receiver. Still going to put up sizable numbers. Quarterbacks are going off the board here. This is a tiny bit concerning for us, but this does mean that Dalton Schultz does have an opportunity to come back to us. I take it back. I'm just kidding. Here we probably will go with I don't know. I don't really like the ADP on Elijah Moore, but at this point, I think he's too much of a value to pass up on if he does fall to us. I could also make an argument for Clyde here, but I do like the value on Damian Harris around later, so I may sit and chill a little bit. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I go and bolster my wide receiver room even further, and take a guy like Elijah Moore, and then fingers crossed a guy like Trey Lance makes it to us. So we have the Debo Trey Lance pairing. Although obviously taking Trey Lance here would be the safer option, but I seriously believe in waiting quarterback. until you can get a nice value. And right now, there's no value on the board. I mean, Tom Brady would be an awesome pick, but actually, Tom Brady would be a pretty awesome pick. But I do think bolstering my wide receiver room, ensuring that I just have a great wide receiver room, uh, would be best. So I think Elijah Moore is the pick here. Um, so now we ensure that we have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league. I mean, now we don't have to touch wide receiver for another 5 rounds, and we'd still have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league. Uh, so right now we probably are gonna cross our fingers, cross everybody in the chat. Trey Lance does go off the board here, but cross our fingers that we do get a Tom Brady or a TJ Hawkinson, one of those two. If we can get one of those two, I would be crying tears of joy here. Crying absolute tears of joy. Oh my god. Honestly, I think Elijah Moore was probably not the right pick. I think it was a luxury we could not have afforded. I think I should have gone with somebody like Trey Lance or Tom Brady. That was probably a dumb pick, honestly, all things considered. Uh, if Tom Brady makes it back to us, we pray to the fantasy gods. Tom Brady makes it back to us. We pray. If not, I mean, it's okay. We can still stabilize in a situation like this. But I'd say for right now, we're probably looking at a situation where we need to take Tom Brady. And then, I mean, everybody has a quarterback except for Kitten Paws. So Kitten Paws wants to snipe us again. He's more than welcome, although I'd be pretty tight about it. Jarwin's Revenge goes Christian Kirk. That seems like a bad pick. That seems like a really, really bad pick. I mean, why would you reach on that? That's just dumb. I went on taking Al Lazard, Kadarius Toney. I'm fine with it. Not mad. So right here, we are in a position where there's 3 players we like on the board. Oh my god, please, come on, Kitten Paws. Come on, please. Kitten Paws. I'm begging you. Don't do this to me. Don't snipe me twice. He's gonna snipe me twice. He's on auto draft, I'm pretty sure. So he most likely will be taking Tom Brady, which does hurt. Does really hurt. But I think in the meantime, we do have to go TJ Hawkinson then. Get our tight end room going a little bit. I don't really like it. It's kind of ugly, but Kitten Paws goes Alan Lazard. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my god, this is awesome. Tom Brady, we get the greatest football player of all time. Greatest football player of all time. Come on. Greatest football player of all time. Paired up with a teammate, Chris Godwin. Oh my god, this is awesome. Absolutely awesome. This draft could not have gone better. I was relishing the pick. I was relishing the Elijah Moore pick. Now I am celebrating the Elijah Moore pick. That was awesome. All right, now probably should go over the draft board a little more. Haven't really been looking at it too much. A bit more focused on the supreme value I've been getting. But so this most recent round, we got a lot of wide receivers going off the board. Which is really good for us. That's exactly what we wanted. Devonta Smith, Drake London, Treylon Burks, Christian Kirk, Brendan Ayuk, Michael Thomas, Kadarius Toney, Alan Lazard, and then after that, Tyler Lockett, Sky Moore, Chase Claypool. These are all guys we really, really wanted off the board. Damian Harris does go, which is pretty unfortunate. It actually sucks. But but we do we seriously have had such good value this draft. I mean, we can't ask for much more. We really can't. But with all these wide receivers going off the board, we have to be ecstatic with what's going on right now. As I hear, we hope for a guy like Kenneth Walker. A lot of these guys do have a fair amount of running backs. I mean, I'm a little worried. And Mike Marino, Stark Kindler's highly experienced, so I think he will see the value in Kenneth Walker. And try and scoop him up. If so, it's okay. Tyler Boyd goes off the board. I really don't understand that. Along with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I think is going to be one of the worst picks in the draft. Guy's never amounted to anything. Being under one of the best quarterbacks. Oh wow, Matt Stafford. That's kind of another person I was hoping for. Marquez Valdes-Scantling was nothing with one of the best quarterbacks. He does get a quarterback upgrade in Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes' offense is significantly more crowded. Even with Devontae Adams, oh my god, Aaron Rodgers goes off the board. Thank God we were able to get Tom Brady. Thank God. We will go Kenneth Walker here. Bolster our running back room a little bit. So, our running back room is pretty stable. We have some upside players. We definitely have a lot of upside, honestly, in this running back room. We have a lot of upside and a lot of floor in this wide receiver room. Now we bolster, hopefully, our quarterback room again. I'd say probably try and get somebody like Daniel Jones, somebody who maybe we can connect to a wide receiver, which might be kind of tough. Maybe a Zach Wilson even. Zach Wilson would honestly be fantastic right about now. Um, so yeah, we can kind of wait. We'll probably end up taking 3 quarterbacks here. Honestly, 3 tight ends as well. I probably will take a guy. I would imagine at 115, I'd hopefully get Christian Watson. Obviously, I already have a ton of receivers, so I'm asking for a lot here. But Christian Watson or somebody like that, uh, or James Cook would be awesome. Any of these guys. Oh my god, there are running backs on running backs on running backs on the board right now. I'm thinking a lot of them will slip off. Oh, even honestly, I'm not usually too big of a fan of drafting handcuffs, but Melvin Gordon could be a very good handcuff in this situation. Provide a lot of stability to my running back room. Melvin Gordon does go off the board, so I will stop talking. But um, hopefully James Cook here. If not, Chase Edmonds could be a good pick. But probably I'd be eyeing up Christian Watson here. I'm not touching Rashad Penny with the 39.5 foot pole. I don't get the Rashad Penny hype. People are saying he's the RB1. Why would you draft a guy in the second round just to keep the guy who's been healthy for 6 games his whole career as the RB1? I don't understand it. I think to me it sounds illogical. It sounds like it sounds like training camp hype. That's really what it comes down to. So here we did end up taking Christian Watson. I think Christian Watson's the right pick here. I mean, what more could you ask for? He's in one of the best offenses in the entire league and could be the wide receiver one. And we've seen how much Aaron Rodgers supports his wide receiver ones. So we do go Christian Watson here. Um, Derek Carr does go off the board. James Cook, Melvin Gordon. I am thinking there's going to be a pretty sizable running back run here. I mean, there already has been pretty much. 3 running backs, 4 running backs this round. Dameon Pierce, massive reach, but what can you do? Joker J, got an asshole sometimes. So we're going to see a couple of running backs go off the board, but we do get our guy in Christian Watson. I don't get why. I will keep saying this. I will keep pounding the drums on Christian Watson. You will hear it every single video. Every single video I get him. I don't know why he keeps falling. I would much rather have him over somebody like Tim Patrick. Somebody who's going to be guaranteed at absolute best. Tim Patrick will be the wide receiver 3 in that offense. At absolute best. At absolute best. He could easily be replaced by somebody like KJ Hamler. I don't trust it. People are even hyping up Alex So. I'm not too big on him, but I mean that's another mouth to feed in that offense. Ramondre Stevenson, I honestly do like Ramondre Stevenson a lot. I think Ramondre Stevenson, if you're gonna draft a backup, he's definitely one of the best backups in the league. I don't understand people taking him over Madison personally, because Madison, although he's gonna get zero workload when Dalvin's healthy, Dalvin's never had a full healthy season, and Alexander Madison fills in and is 95% of what Dalvin Cook is. So you get a guy like Alexander Madison. Let's say Dalvin Cook goes down, tears his ACL week 4 of the season. You have one of the best running backs in the league for the rest of the season, just chilling there. So I don't usually like drafting handcuffs, but Madison, in my opinion, is different. On the board again, there's 3 players I like now. 2. Chase Edmonds was definitely one of them. I guess there still is 3 players. I would take a Rondell Moore and then just be done drafting wide receivers for the rest of the draft. Or I could also go Pat Fryermuth here. Yep, I will end up going Pat Fryermuth here. I think Pat Fryermuth is a great pick, although, obviously not the best tight end one. He is going into his second season, and rookie quarterbacks do tend to rely on tight ends a lot, first. And second, Mr. Trubisky sucks. He's not going to be able to air the ball down. He's going to need a guy like Pat Fryermuth and Deontay Johnson, I hope, in this situation. So here, we're probably going to be in a situation where we're going to target tight end again, either go Irv Smith or Mike Gesicki. I'm thinking, I really don't get why Irv Smith, I do understand why Irv Smith's being pushed up the board, but I don't understand why he's being drafted ahead of Mike Gesicki. I think Mike Gesicki hit almost 800 yards last year. Obviously, he's going to be in a much more crowded offense right now. But as Mike Gesicki has quietly had a really, really strong tight end season, back-to-back years, 112 targets. That should go down, but his efficiency should go up. Irv Smith, obviously a lot of opportunity is opening up for him, but at this point, I just don't see you could draft an unproven guy who's never had more than, let's say, 200 yards over a guy who's had like over 800. And it's not like age is really a massive concern with Mike Gesicki. It's not like he's 33, or even if he was, we're still drafting guys like Gronk and Travis Kelce. Um, that's kind of my main take on Mike Gesicki. But either way, I think Irv Smith and Mike Gesicki both would be awesome picks here. I think I need to just secure my tight end room. Honestly, I'm a little concerned because I'm kind of putting myself in a position where the one mistake I made was I think I put myself in a position where I pretty much not have to draft three quarterbacks, but I have to draft three tight ends, and my quarterback upside's not really all that great. So I think what I'm gonna have to do probably take Mike Gesicki, Cameron Brate, and then wow, I mean if Mike Gesicki even falls to me, it's entirely possible he doesn't. Take a guy like Mike Gesicki, hopefully. All these guys pretty much have tight ends except for, oh my god, Kitten Paws. Kitten Paws has been the bane of my existence. He let me go a few times, but with a name like Kitten Paws, you'd think he'd be a little nicer, but it's just not the case. But this guy, Mets Gollitz, already has two tight ends. Not too worried about him taking one. JH23 does kill our dreams, meaning we definitely have to take three tight ends now, which is really, really unfortunate. So we are probably gonna go with a guy like Cole Kmet here. Cole Kmet gonna be receiving most of the workload in this offense. I don't see 93 targets last year. The only wide receiver they had was Velus Jones Jr. in like the third round of the draft. There's only so many targets, or there's so many targets that can go around here, and really nobody to fill them. You figure again, like I said, rookie and second-year quarterbacks mainly rely on tight ends. So I think the situation is no different. Cole Kmet will get a pretty big workload. So now I have two tight ends that I at least feel okay about. I mean, not really too good, but with this wide receiver room, I can't really mind too much. With this running back room, I can't really mind too much. So now I think it's all about just, for the rest of the draft, pretty much just securing depth, seeing if any tight end value can fall to us, seeing if any wide receiver value can fall to us, seeing if any running back value can fall to us, and seeing if any quarterback value can fall to us. I guess that's pretty much what drafting is. So here we're going to hope for a lot of things. I really don't have a preference right now. I guess I'd prefer if anything were to fall to us. I don't know, honestly. Because I'm not really too big of a fan of any of the running backs once you get to this point, aside from Tyrion Davis-Price. So maybe try and end up with Tyrion Davis-Price at this point. Maybe try and get one or two more wide receivers. Joshua Palmer, although I'm not too big of a fan, I think if he's getting pushed up draft boards like this, he will only continue. I'm torn between him and Van Jefferson, honestly. Both are good options, but I do think going with Van Jefferson might be a little better because Van Jefferson has weeks where he'll just get like 25 points. I mean, he's one of those deep ball threats. And in best ball format where they automatically start the best player every week, a guy like Van Jefferson is actually more valuable than I think people are giving him credit for. He's like pretty much like Tyler Lockett, but going 50 picks later. Sure, Tyler Lockett's more talented. I'm not saying that at all. But Van Jefferson's has a much better quarterback. Tyler Lockett's like an ADP I do not get in the slightest. All right, Van Jefferson does go off the board, so he probably will go Joshua Palmer. I'm assuming he doesn't get taken. He may. Joker J is kind of an asshole too. Joker J has been sniping a few players that we've liked. But Joshua Palmer would pretty much round out our wide receiver room. We wouldn't need to take anybody else, which is really nice. Gives us a lot of flexibility at other positions. He does go Jalen Tolbert. We will go Joshua Palmer. Works with the first team offense. Now, I'd say taking another quarterback, taking maybe even two more quarterbacks, and bolstering my running back room. Hopefully getting Tyrion Davis-Price, I don't know, because the thing is, there's really nobody else that I guess Gus Edwards. I don't really like backing up J.K. Dobbins at all, honestly. Like, what upside does Gus Edwards realistically have? Like, I really just don't see any path. Even if he does, even if J.K. Dobbins tears his ACL again, I really don't see much of a path for upside for Gus Edwards. I mean, I drafted him last year after J.K. Dobbins tore his ACL, and Gus Edwards burned me so bad after that, tearing his ACL. Obviously, a day later, I'm sure a lot of people got burned by that. But for me personally, that's a scar that, although as a fantasy owner, I should be objective. I don't think I really am in this scenario. But at the same time, what upside does Gus Edwards really offer? He's never been a pass catching running back ever in his career. I think he has 20 receptions or something like that throughout the 3 years of his career. Um, and if J.K. Dobbins were to go down, they're definitely bringing in a backup and splitting the workload with Gus Edwards. They're not. They don't want to see the situation they were in last year ever again in their lives. So we have seen now, I would say, a lot of running backs, a few quarterbacks going off the board. Might be best to kind of secure our guy in Zach Wilson sooner rather than later. So I think we might have to take Zach Wilson at this pick if he even falls to us. I'm a little worried he might not, but he presumably will. The only other thing I'm thinking is if I just took an insane risk, because a lot of these guys do have quarterbacks. I mean, every one of these guys has at least two QBs, except for one. It is pretty risky, but I think I'm going to go for it. I think I'm going to take Tyrion Davis-Price here. Again, if Tyrion Davis-Price does start, which there is a possibility he does, the 49ers offense is always confusing with running backs. I don't think I've seen anybody get the 49ers running back offense right in years. And if Tyrion Davis-Price does start, even for 5 games, I mean, it's even for like 3 games, it's a worth it pickup here. In the middle of the 14th round, Jameis Winston does go off the board here. We're taking Tyrion Davis-Price, hoping that a guy like Zach Wilson falls to us rather than reaching a little bit on his ADP. I do think reaching there would have been fine, but honestly, me personally, I think reaching doesn't really make a lot of sense in a format like this. Because if I, let's say, reach on Zach Wilson, right? I reach around on Zach Wilson. People are getting Zach Wilson oftentimes around behind where I reached. Or let's say I reached 2 rounds on Zach Wilson. People are getting Zach Wilson 2 rounds behind where I reached. And at that point, if they're getting him 2 rounds behind where I reached, they're getting better players before me. I'm filling him with worse players. So reaching on pretty much anybody, unless you really, really have faith in their ability, I can't justify it. I can't justify reaching more than I would say 10 picks. 10 picks. I think that's fair. You reach on a guy in the last round, sure, whatever. You reach on the guy in the last 2 rounds, you take your guy in the last couple rounds, like a Romeo Dobbs, Tyquan Thornton, whatever. Who cares? But if you're reaching a guy any range before that, I just think it's ill-advised in a format like this, where ultimately your goal is $2 million. That's it. $2 million or bust, pretty much. Or winning one of the $10,000 prize pots, something like that. But your goal is to really maximize your ceiling as much as possible. Who cares about floor? Who cares about floor? Floor does not matter in a format like this. I've been ignoring the draft a little bit, but Cameron Brake goes off the board. Gerald Everett, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, Marlon Mack, Hayden Hurst. So a few more tight ends, a lot more tight ends than I was expecting in this range. Joker, he has been a sniper. He has been a little bit of a sniper in this scenario, but as long as he does not go Zach Wilson, we are in the clear. If he doesn't go Zach Wilson. If we do get Zach Wilson here, we're getting the pairing with Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore. So let's say Elijah Moore takes one to the house, 90 yards. We're pretty much reaping the benefits of that no matter what. So we'll see. Joker goes Gus Edwards here, and we get our guy in Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, although not really too big of a fan of the Jets offense, in terms of, like Zach Wilson and his success next year, I do think that they are have the possibility to be one of the biggest breakout offenses in the entire league next year. I mean, you look at all the weapons they have. Garrett Wilson, uh, Elijah Moore, Breece Hall. They added CJ Uzama. Their line is decent. You got a quarterback going in your second year. They do have a lot of things trending in the right direction. And honestly, in a format like this too, if you were to draft Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow stack last year, you were probably feeling pretty good about yourself towards the end of the year. I'm not saying they're going to be the Bengals, but if you can attach yourself to an offense that could be like the Bengals, I would consider the Jets to be one of the highest up there. Um, More running backs going off the board and wide receivers. We got George Pickens here falling all the way to pick 176. Don't really understand that. Wan'Dale Robinson, 177. KJ Hamler, 179. And then now we just have more backup running backs going off the board. Again, not really. That's why I kind of like drafting, at least a few talented running backs. Running backs who have opportunity to start. I don't see the point in drafting somebody like J.D. McKissick. I could see the point. I could see definitely arguments for drafting people like A.J. Dillon, Tony Pollard, because at least if their starting running back goes down, they are going to be receiving most of the workload. But there's never a week where J.D. McKissick's getting 80% of the workload. There's never a week where Raheem Mostert's probably getting 80% of the workload. I mean, actually, I take that back on Raheem Mostert. It's possible. It's plausible? No, but it's possible. I may. Here's a couple players I like. I don't really want to draft another tight end with this team, honestly. Not 100% sure if it's a good idea. And there's really no good tight ends left on the board. Who am I drafting? Freaking Cade Otton. CJ Uzama. I was just talking highly about CJ Uzama, but how much work is he really getting in that offense? More utilized to probably block. I'm scared. I'm scarred as a Giants fan with Evan Ingram. There's no tight ends left I like. Sure, you could argue I missed the boat, blah, 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 whatever. I can't justify taking another tight end. Here, I think I will take Julio Jones. Yeah, I know. He's not on our team. I know, I get it. Hear me out. But Julio Jones, I know in my last video I said he may not get signed, all that stuff. But Julio Jones, I was thinking about it again. I will admit I was probably wrong. Julio Jones most likely will get signed. It's Julio Jones. Every team needs wide receivers. Wide receivers is slowly becoming the second highest paid position in all of football. Teams love wide receivers. Getting a guy like Julio Jones, or if he does go to a team, his ADP is going to go from 196 to probably the 120s, the 130s. I mean, you're telling me if Julio Jones goes to the Packers, you're drafting Tim Patrick over Julio Jones. I mean, I don't see it. So I think Julio Jones is honestly a pretty good pick, and now our wide receiver room is completely done. Here, I think I may take at this point Deshaun Watson. I have two picks left here. Probably another running back would be useful. Maybe Donta Foreman. Maybe Benjamin even. I could justify Benjamin. But I don't know. I'm not really too big of a fan of any of these backs. I think running backs get kind of disgusting pretty quickly. Whereas wide receivers, they stay consistent longer. I think here, again, people will call me crazy for this. People will definitely call me crazy for this. I think Deshaun Watson. I think I'm gonna go Donta Foreman. Obviously, Donta Foreman is in a situation where he could ascend, and if Christian McCaffrey does go down, Donta Foreman will be receiving a majority of the workload, which is something you can't say about much of these other running backs. Benjamin, you could say, but he's never handled workload even close to that. Same thing with Chris Evans. I don't understand why Chris Evans is going over Samaje Perine. I really don't. Samaje Perine was the guaranteed RB2 in that offense for pretty much the entire season. Uh, Zamir White, Kenyon Drake there too. Donta Foreman, I mean, they have Chuba Hubbard. But Chuba Hubbard proved, without a doubt, that he cannot handle a workload like that. Um, so here, I would say there's really, I have to go either quarterback or tight end. I pretty much filled out my running back room, pretty much filled out my wide receiver room. I'm not taking Brevin Jordan. I'm not taking Austin Hooper. I'm not taking Wiley Cox. I know. I'm going to be called an idiot. I'm going to be called stupid. I'm going to be called dumb. Whatever. Deshaun Watson, in the last pick of the draft, is one of the only players that offers one of the best teams. If Deshaun Watson plays, let's say he plays 8 games this season. Let's say he plays the last 6 games of the season, right? The last 6 games. That will help me out more than any of these other players. That will help me out way more than Brevin Jordan. That will help me out way more than Wiley Cox. I mean, if he plays 6 games this season, that will help me out way more than any other player I'm drafting in this range. Any other player. I mean, aside from, maybe a crazy wide receiver sleeper that everyone's missing, the whole market doesn't see at this point. But Deshaun Watson will help me out more than any of those players. I think it's obviously a very risky pick, but I don't care about my floor. I care about my ceiling. As I've said before, this guy has one QB. He might take Deshaun Watson here. He might be thinking the same thing as me. And I don't blame him. His team's kind of ugly, though. 8 running backs. I'm a little, honestly, he's probably on auto draft. If you have 8 running backs, you either have no common sense and you're just throwing $25 into an incinerator. Who does he go? Who the heck did he go? John Mechie. Okay, interesting. So, just to sum up this draft, quarterback, we got Tom Brady and Zach Wilson. Although it probably is one of the lowest quarterback duos in the league, I would imagine. Still a quarterback duo I can be confident in. One quarterback providing stability, the other providing upside. As for running back, I think my running back duo, my running backs are okay. Again, a little weak. I'm not too happy with them, but still good. Wide receivers, do I even have to talk about it? Oh my god, this is insane. This is actually ridiculous. One of the best wide receiver rooms I've ever seen in a best ball draft. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin, Elijah Moore, Christian Watson, Joshua Palmer, and Julio Jones. I'm literally smiling behind my mic, just reading them out loud right now. Oh my god, I wish you guys could see my face. I will hopefully be getting a camcorder soon, so you guys can actually be able to see my face. And then Pat Freiermuth and Cole Kmet. Duo's okay. I mean, it's really not that good, but getting 2 back-end tight ends, I do kind of like the strategy sometimes. I think it's good pairing up like 2 okay tight ends. I think it is. And now here, we probably will end up taking Deshaun Watson here. There really isn't too many other quarterbacks or players I can even justify getting a starting role anywhere. OBJ, maybe. James Washington, honestly, probably. But my wide receiver room is filthy. There's no reason to go out there and get a James Washington when you have a wide receiver room that I have. All right, everyone. I think that should be it. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. Please, if you can, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, tell all your friends. Actually, no, don't tell your friends. Save this content just for you so you can win your fantasy draft. And please leave a like. Please subscribe. I'm actually begging you guys. It would mean the world to me. Oh my god. I love you guys so much. I hope you have an awesome day.